All right, let's start you off with our first story. Donald Trump has won the U.S. presidency, crossing the 270 electoral vote mark. Trump made a victory speech before a jubilant crowd at his campaign headquarters in Florida, thanking American voters for their strong mandate. Take a listen.
Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends in this incredible movement.
Trump's speech capped his stunning political comeback to secure a second term as the 47th president of the United States. Despite predictions in 2021 that his political career had come to an end, Trump has defied the odds, riding a wave of conservative support to return to the White House. It's only the second time that anyone has ever returned to the White House after previously losing a presidential re-election bid. Results, which are still pouring in, indicate that Trump has defeated Democrat Kamala Harris, securing a decisive mandate and proving many pollsters wrong in their predictions of a tight race.
And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But
Trump's impressive victories for the Republicans in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia, 3 of the 7 crucial swing states, underscores his broad appeal across diverse voter groups. Trump had to talk from the podium with his family. He's also thanked Elon Musk, applauding the tech leader's accomplishment with SpaceX, while noting the surge in Tesla stocks.
Take over, Elon. Yes, take over. Let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. Now he is. Now he's an amazing guy. We were sitting together tonight. You know, he spent 2 weeks in Philadelphia and different parts of Pennsylvania campaigning. You know, he sent the rocket up 2 weeks ago, and I saw that rocket, and I saw it coming down. I saw it. It was, when it left, it was beautiful, shiny white. When it came down, it didn't look so pretty. It was going 10,000 miles an hour, and it was burning like hell. Was that you? He said, yes, it was. I said, who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the United States do it other than you? No. Nobody can do that. I said, that's why I love you, Elon. That's great.
Military messages poured in from around the world. Democratic candidate Kamala Harris is yet to concede defeat, with her supporters saying that they're keeping the faith. She is expected to address her supporters who gathered at her alma mater, Howard University in Washington, D.C. All right, on the broadcast now, we are being joined by Mario Kranjak, Republican strategist from New Jersey, and Democrat strategist from the state of Texas, Becca Defiz. Welcome to you both. Thank you for joining me on WION today. Mario, let me start with you. What a victory by the former president. Did you expect Donald Trump to win as handsomely as he did? And what do you make of the poll predictions that showed such a tight race?
Good morning, and that's a great result. Thank you for having me. You know, this goes to show you what a candidate with fixed values and fixed beliefs with a track record can accomplish. When I was telling all my friends over the last week that it's going to be a bit of a landslide for Donald Trump, they all asked me, are you sure? I said, I'm positive. It never felt like this before. And even in New Jersey, which was close, it could have been in more play. You know, I know personally what it's like to defeat a Democratic machine. I've done it twice as mayor of Englewood Cliffs, which are the cliffs behind me. So, you know, it wasn't a surprise to me at all. The polls make it, I think, intentionally somewhat close so that we're all remaining interested. But look, the Kamala Harris campaign started off with joy, then it went to desperation, and then it went to defeat. And the reason why is that she has no fixed values and no fixed beliefs. She's very porous in terms of what goes on. And we never actually got a opening message or a closing message from her that was cogent. Donald Trump, on the other hand, very clear, very focused, wants to make America greater than it's ever been, restore the rule of law. And if you restore the rule of law in America, you get world order as well that follows. So we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to fixing 4 years that have been a disaster with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and all their attempted social engineering and other craziness that they've tried to push down on the American public. I suffered locally. The press here hit me all the time about just whenever I wanted to keep the children in school being educated and not indoctrinated. The Bergen Record, the Star Ledger all called me the Trumpy mayor. And look, I'm a forever Trumper. I think the man does the right thing for the country. Even if you look at his family, his children have turned out to be tremendous. So if he's so terrible, how could he possibly raise children and have 4 good years that he had that the media, the legacy media, wants us to forget about? And they also wanted us to forget about the 4 years that Kamala Harris was in office. So look, this is a big, big victory for the American citizens and all our friends.
I'd like to go to Becca now. Becca Defiz, you're joining us from Texas. I'd love to get your thoughts on how you see these results. At the end of the day, it just seemed too easy of a victory for the former president. Where did the Harris campaign go wrong, in your opinion?
I think that one of the most important things to remember is that the Harris campaign started approximately 100 days ago, whereas President Trump had been campaigning pretty steadily for the last 4 years since his defeat in 2020. And frankly, that's a very short amount of time to get a campaign off the ground. I think it was admirable how hard Vice President Kamala Harris worked to earn the trust of the American people. I think that there were just a lot of pieces of misinformation that were continually repeated. I think that we were up against a deep challenge, but frankly, I'm incredibly appreciative that she took that challenge on, that she had a great team that was willing to take that leap of faith with her. And frankly, as a woman who lives in a red state, it was a it was a point of hope for a lot of us to see a woman of color at the top of the ticket taking this huge stride forward. She dispelled a lot of myths with her campaign. And, who's to say what happens next? I think that we are still waiting for some results, but yeah, the race was not nearly as close as I would have hoped, and many of us would have hoped that it would be.
Yeah, a question that I'd like to pose to you as well, Becca, but I want to go to Mario first. Do you think that the Democrats and the people that are never Trumpers, even Republicans like Liz Cheney, are going to allow for a calm, peaceful, successful Trump presidency, or are we going to see the same attacks and gimmicks that we saw from the establishment against the former president during his first term? And they weren't few. There were so many. Donald Trump is saying he's going to be president for all Americans. Will Donald Trump be able to govern correctly?
Yes, he absolutely will be. And don't forget, the America has a long history of democracy and peaceful transition of power. And there was a peaceful transition of power in 2020. The fact that people go to court and challenge results, that's well within their right to do so. You saw Donald Trump hand over power and authority to Joe Biden in 2020, and we're hoping we'll see that happen again in this coming inauguration season, which we are looking forward to. Just a point about that the other person made on this show is that I think that it was great that there was a woman on top of the ticket. The problem is that she didn't fight her way to get to the top. The Democratic Party is broken. They coronated her. So she never went through a primary season where she had to be challenged and actually answer questions. Donald Trump went through a primary season, fought for the nomination, had nothing handed to him, and worked very, very hard. And so I think that that's the problem with the Democratic Party is that there are people who are controlling that party who don't let candidates actually do their jobs. And I don't know if it's nefarious or why they're doing that. There's a lot of George Soros money. There's George Soros prosecutors out there. These people all need to leave the system and go back into the private sector and get out of government. They don't belong in government. You should not have an agenda that requires you to destroy the other party or the other candidate. So look, I'm sure there'll be some challenges, but I always also said Donald Trump has to win by more than the margin of fraud, right? So I think he's done that handedly, and I think it would behoove the Democratic Party to take note and let a peaceful transition happen. Donald Trump has some excellent people surrounding him. I'm sure they'll run the country just as well in the next 4 years as they did from 2016 to 2020. And lesson learned for all of America. We're back.
And Becca, I'd love to pose the same question to you as well. What are you hearing from the Democrat camp? Do you think that they're up in arms, ready to fight this new Donald Trump administration, considering the fact that for the last month or so, and notably these last few days and weeks, we constantly heard the comparison to a dictator, to Adolf Hitler, fascism coming back to America? Do you think that they'll put their American jerseys on and try to work with the Republican Party and the administration of Donald Trump moving forward, or are there going to be challenges?
I certainly think that there is going to be pushback on President Trump's policy initiatives. He has shown that despite promising to be a president for all Americans, he has implemented and ushered in an era of, frankly, divisive politics. The policies that he passed were onerous for women, and he made it possible for a lot of state legislatures to, frankly, death sentence women in their state. And I am speaking on the abortion bans. I understand that this is an issue that he has backpedaled on, but it is one that, frankly, I do not believe him after spending so much time talking about how proud he was of overturning Roe. We just cannot believe that he will now put any protections in place. To speak to the fact that Kamala Harris did not earn this nomination, I will say that absolutely it was unorthodox. We were in a moment that is unprecedented. And as Democratic delegates, the decision had to be made to have a nominee. Kamala Harris was obviously the best choice as the vice president. And frankly, she very much earned her way to the vice presidency. She is, I think, the only person on the ticket that served at a local, state, and federal level. She served as a DA, the AG, a US senator, and then the vice president. So to disparage those accomplishments, which were absolutely earned, is to do a huge disservice, not just to the vice president, but to any woman who has earned her place in government. Sorry, and to answer your question, Democrats are absolutely going to allow the peaceful transfer of power, something that has been lacking in the last election cycle. And frankly, yes, there'll be a reconfiguring, there will be a reassessment, there will be the review of what happened this cycle and how voters responded to messages, to how the campaign conducted itself, how we strategized and moved in battleground states. And we will come back in 28 with hopefully a new plan, and one that is better calibrated to speak to the American people.
Mario and Becca, thank you so much for joining us on WION. I look forward to speaking to both of you again very soon. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.